What's going on, Paisanos? V here, coming at you, well, with the ban list prediction video. You know, I really like doing these videos, and I really hate doing these videos, because when I do these videos, when I give my explanations, I get a lot of people that just bitch. And instead of just going, like, saying, hey, V, listen, man, shut the fuck up about, like, me owning, like, because I own, like, X deck, and you're fucking my shit up, so, like, just shut up. Like, I'll appreciate that. Even though you're obviously wrong, at least be that guy. Don't be the biased dumbass who says everything. Like if someone comes on here and goes, V, I don't think it should ban Barrier Statue of Stormwinds. Alright, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I'll hear your argument out, trust me, but that's the dumbest, like, front-end take I'll ever hear in my life. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Okay? When you do a ban list prediction video, the best way to do it is take yourself away from every single deck in the game. Now, you can do this by two reasons. One, you can just do it. Or two, you can look at your deck and go, yeah, this shit ain't lasting forever. No shot. Like, Missing Mind Burn players looking at the Missing Mind Burn deck and going, yeah, it was a good run. Like, that's the best way to do this. That is the smartest way to do this, and yet some players just can't do this. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players don't like change. Now I'm gonna go over this ban list prediction video and prediction cards or whatever the fuck, and then we're gonna talk about these cards because I really want to talk about these cards. So we're gonna do it right now individually. One, Missing Mind gets banned. I mean, it's just up for debate. Are we even gonna start talking about this? Some dumbass in one of my videos was like, "I don't care, Missing Mind. I'll drink your tears, her," and then he laughed and shit to himself. Listen. Just because you shit on scrubs at your locals in some nowhere state that nobody goes to, nobody thinks you're a good player. If you was a good player, you would be winning events without Mystic Mind. Let's be honest with you, the card is a crutch. It is so bad that Yu-Gi-Oh players playing whatever deck have to always think about this card like Mystic Mind. A card that doesn't belong in any archetype is wrecking the entire game. Now you might go, wait a minute, V. But isn't that a good thing? So my fill-in-the-blank shit deck that I play, that deck could thrive, right? I'm not sure if you know what the game this is. I'm not sure if you understand, but this is Yu-Gi-Oh! You buy the new shit, you don't play the old shit. You can't play the old stuff, hero players, let them know, tell them. But, just like hero players, you know walking in the locals, you are not the favorite to win that event. So anyone playing old-school Mystic Mind burn decks, I mean, yeah, you did win in YCS. That guy's your god. But Mystic Mind's not going to be around. I was just crapping on Barrier Statue of Stormwinds. One of my favorite decks in this game is Flunderies, and here's why Barrier Statue of Stormwinds is going to get banned. It is broken. In order to counter this card, your opponent will have to normal summon. Now, Flunderies have a field spell that hope that you normal summon, number one. Number two, you have to draw the out. Infinite Permanence, Forbidden Dropper, Dark Rule, no more. Okay, that's a lot of cards, but should you always play those cards in case you play against the Flundery players playing first turn Barrier Statue of Stormwinds? No! That is a horrible, horrible take. That is ridiculous. And should you have to deal with that shit? No, of course not. And Artifact Scythe. Like, do I even have to talk about why this card should be banned? Like, can we just move forward? Or is there some dumbass out there that's like, I don't understand what you're talking about, V? Artifacts are really good. No. No. Like, what the fuck? Like, once again, these are kind of the three cards I think universally we should all agree that deserve to be banned. Like, if anyone defends any of these cards, just know that you're defending, like, Hitler, like, 1946. Like, everyone's laughing at you going, this fucking guy. Alright, go on. Let us know. Tell us why. So we can, like, just shit on you, move on. Alright, so that's all banned. Limited, Super Poly. So Telements are about to become really good. Looking at OCG, Shishu Telements are probably the best deck in the game. You know what makes them better here in TCG? Give them Super Poly. This card is so good, non-Telement decks, right? Plays them looking at you, are starting to play Super Poly just to beat over Telement players even more. The card's insane. The card's really good. And you can say, wait a minute, V, what is the fusions? Alright, which ones? Because there's a ton of them. I mean, you have Mud Dragon, you have Winda, which, I mean, technically you can't go into depending on your opponent goes to do it against you first turn. You have, Mud Dragon again, like, I don't know. And yeah, that new fusion monster whose name's really confusing, I'm not gonna say it, but you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, then you don't own new cards, and you're probably playing Mystic Mind, so you don't need to know. Alright, Dark Rule No More. Here's my favorite thing about Dark Rule No More. And why it's gonna get, because no one talks about this card. This card's going to get hit in the ban list. And a lot of people go, wait a minute, V, no, my pussy hurts. Let me explain. The reason why Dark Rule No More is going to get hit in the ban list is Konami can sell us Ultimate Slayer. That's it. That's it. Once again, you have to realize this is Konami making the ban list. Not you making the ban list. Not you and a couple of buddies in some, like, little nowhere place making a ban list. No, 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 no. Konami's making this list. They don't give a fuck about what you think. They need to sell you some new shit. And Power the Elements has a card that's a weaker version, if we're gonna be honest, of Dark Rule No More. Like, it's a totally weaker version. Wouldn't it make sense if this Dark Rule No More got hit in the ban list so they could sell his Ultimate Slayer? Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Don't get me wrong, I don't want this card going any at all myself. I think this card's a great card, but if you're Konami and you're like, no one's buying enough of our Power the Elements, even though we put 2 tier 1 decks in that bitch, we need to sell those Ultimate Slayers. See, obviously, one thing, they're not thinking about the secondary market, they're thinking about the full market, because obviously if you can place need to buy Ultimate Slayers, vendors and dumbasses that buy cards to open and sell online, the single backpack vendors, not all but some, they have to open a ton of Power Elements or trade for Power Elements, and it creates a way that trickles back up to Konami of people buying Power Elements to get Ultimate Slayers. Konami knows this. They're not like blind by this. If the secondary market needs a card, they're gonna need a card from a certain set, and if it's a newer set, how can Konami find a way to make you buy that new set? Well, it's simple. Dark Rule No More. Dark Rule No More gets pushed to the side. Ultimate Slayer becomes a new bay. And once people see Ultimate Slayer, obviously they're gonna want to go ahead and grab this. What I'm trying to say is you might want to pick this card up before it gets like bought out. All right. Up next, E-Telly. Yeah, Punk players, it was a good run. You had a good time. Everyone laughed, everyone giggled. Move the fuck on. Like, E-Telly's going to 1. Like anyone who bitches about E-Telly but sees Super Poly as an okay card, like, you're just missing the point completely. Like, it's just right over your head. I don't have time to explain this shit to you. I don't have crayons and paper to, like, help you out. No. Alright, Trap Trick. When everyone's siding in the same card, and I think at this point, we'll say Trap Trick, but also Point of Red Lotus. When everyone's siding in the same card, Konami usually sees that and they go, huh, they're not thinking. Let's fuck with them. So they usually hit those cards. Like, it just happens. It's historically happened. Only 2 things that happen. Number 1, these cards rotate out of play because they get power crept. And Point of Red Lotus is a really hard card to power creep. Trap Trick is a really hard card to power creep. Or number 2, these cards normally just get hit by the ban list. Historically speaking, of course. So looking at Point of Red Lotus and Trap Trick, I think these cards are going to get hit by the ban list. I think they're really good. Really, 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 really good. And I do think they are a problem as far as the way Konami would see it, historically speaking. I was using that phrase, but it's true. Alright, Dimension Shifter gets hit. There's so many Dimension cards that are hitting the ban list. It's kind of crazy to think they're not going to hit Shifter. And yeah, I know what you're saying. V, how could you say you love Flunderies, but you're going to hurt my Flunderies, V? Oh, that's so easy. It's simple. I'm so glad you asked that question. Because I'm not fucking Konami. I don't make this shit. This is what I guess they would do. If you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player and you've been watching Advance for a long while and watching the way Konami hits cards, you would guess just almost similar kind of shit. That's just how the game works. Dimension cards are normally hit, right? Like Fissure, hit. Macrocosmos, even though it's not a Dimension card, kind of dimensional, gets hit. Yeah, Shifter, that shit's get hit. Alright, so that's limited. Let's go semi-limited. Product Prosperities. And this is why someone told me the other day, V, I think we'll get advanced after the Megatins. And I said, what the? Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Because Konami wants us to buy all this crap, and then they hit it. And they've done that before. They've released Megatins, and then hit some of the shit that they released after we went crazy buying it. So I can see that happening. One of the cards that that happen to is Product Prosperity. I could be lazy and say in the OCG they did semi-limited. I could be lazy and say Master they did limited. I could be just lazy in general and say that's it. But realistically speaking, Product Prosperity is a huge card that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players are playing. It's a card that's seen playing almost every single deck if you can afford it. The players that are not playing Product Prosperity are normally saying, I'm playing this because I don't have Product Prosperities. Very few decks are playing this card. You might make a great argument for Triple Tactics Talents being on here as well, and I won't deny that. I think Talent is too broken of a card, and I think it can't see its way in the ban list, at least semi-limited minimal. But right now, it's Talents or Prosperity. I don't see both of them being at the same time. To me, that wouldn't make much sense, and I think Prosperity is a little bit better than Talents. But comment down below, let me know, actually, because that's a really good argument. Up next is Crossout Designator. So I want Crossout to go to 2, so Call by the Grave can go to 2. That's what I personally want. What realistically is going to happen is, once again, to reprint Crossout Designator, Yu-Gi-Oh players buy this card, they play with it for about a week, and then Konami semi-limits this card. Because this card is a really good card, and it stops Yu-Gi-Oh players from playing their deck, which Konami wants you to do. They want a level of stopping you from playing your deck. This is why hand traps exist. This is why floodgates exist. They don't want you doing your deck full power all the time. They don't want you popping off all the time. And cards like Cross the Designator and Call by the Grave, as well as hand traps and floodgates, are needed. But Cross the Designator is just too good. It does too good of a job. And if we're going to go anywhere like the OCG, where Team Shizu is the most dominant deck, this will be one of the best cards in that matchup. So why would you let this card be at full power against a full power deck? You need that deck to do everything, and you need your opponent to find multiple ways to stop your opponent. I know I said opponent twice. All right, Branded Fusion. Now, Branded Fusion is not a problem right now. In fact, I would argue the card basically does not see as much play as everything else. But why would it be on here? Everyone logically would ask. Well, simple. This card's really good. like this card's insanely good. This card by itself, obviously you have to put the engine parts in your deck for this card. But if you open this card's insane. Like, absolutely broken. So I do think Branded Fusion obviously would make its way to the best eventually. Could it be done on this ban list? Probably. I think there's a good case that it would, but we don't know. Silent Mining. Rotor's at 1, Silent Mining's at 3. I think Silent Mining will eventually go to 2, possibly even go to 1. Now you might go, wait a minute, V, but you have to discard a card. Is that really a problem if you're running a Cyber deck? Think about it. Like, what Cyber deck is like, I gotta discard a card? Drats. This sucks, but I gotta look for anything of the deck I'm playing? If I'm playing a Cyber deck, whether it's Marine Sets, whether you're playing Math Mechs, Ignisters, oh man, I gotta look for those? Hopefully I have some left in the deck. Like, yeah, this card's getting hit in the ban list. Water Enchantress. The reason why I say Water Enchantress is Knight Rider, Aramazir, or any other adventure card, because this card is a water card that has insanely good synergy. I mean, I'm not sure if you played Adventure Sprites, but this card has really good synergy with Swap Frog. And I do think if you want to slow sprites down a little bit, you put Water Enchantress on here. Now, here's something I want to point out, because I know a lot of people are going to ask the question, so let me answer it already. Where is Totally Awesome be? Is Totally Awesome deserving to be on this ban list? No, absolutely not. Our metagame is very different from the Oshi metagame, in which when sprites debuted, they were the most dominant deck. You saw a little bit of sprites, you saw a little bit of Telements, a little bit of random decks, and then sprites would dominate the OCG. Here in the TCG, it's nothing like that. I think we all agree that's something like that. So why would we hit Totally Awesome? Number one. Number two, if everyone starts focusing on playing Ultimate Slayer, you could activate Ultimate Slayer, and you could shuffle in Totally Awesome. Meaning, that little sprite Link guy, yeah, he can't bring bitches back from being put back into the deck. And that is a big deal when you look at a card like Totally Awesome. Now, I'm not saying Totally Awesome is a fair card. The card's insanely broken. It's insanely broken. But what I am saying is I don't think Totally Awesome is going to matter once we have Telements with Ishizus. I think Totally Awesome sprites, they're not bad, but it's one of those catch me outside or catch me looking. I don't fucking know. I'm old. You young kids and your catch me goofy phrases. All right. Elixir or Scarlet Sanguine. Nobody's talking about Elix getting hit, but Elix need to get hit. You can make an argument put this card to 1. You can make an argument put this card to ban. I'm fine. Like, Elix gotta get hit in some way, shape, or form. One of the best decks in the game that abuses as many floodgates as humanly possible is Elix. like Elix literally says, all right, here's my engine, and give me any floodgates. Like, just bring it on here. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're gonna be 1. Even though it hurts them, they're like, as long as it hurts you more, I'm fine with this, says the Elix player. Like, Elix are going to be a problem. If we power everything down and ignore Elix, they will let us know you're fucked up. Now, I don't think Skill Drain's gonna get hit. I don't think we should specifically hit floodgates yet. I do think there's a great argument to hit certain floodgates in the future. But right now, we have to hit the deck, the only deck that is abusing as many floodgates as humanly possible, and that is Elix. Everyone ignores this, but it's such a it's such a huge fact that Elix are going to be a massive issue if left ignored. We should not ignore them. We should put Elix or the Scar Sanguine to 1, and maybe even then, we might even have a conversation about hitting other Elix cards. Should we hit Golden Lord? Probably not. I don't think Golden Lord's that big of an issue as much as Elix other Scar Sanguine. But I definitely think Elix or Scar Sanguine should be on here. You might make an argument for Conquistador, Halquero, and I'm not going to deny any of that. That's also a huge problem. But I think if we start with Elixir, and then we do a format with that, I think that's enough to power it down, so it won't be as prevalent. Because like I said, look at profiles. Every Elix profile is just shoveling down floodgates, because that's how they beat you. They flip Skill Drain, they flip only 1, and they just look at you, like, are you dead yet? Like, are we done with this? Like, that's what Elix players do. And all respect to them. I love Elix. I love the deck a lot, but let's be real. You want everyone else to get messed up so you can maintain dominance by continuing to play floodgates. All right, let's go to No Longer Limited. Cyber Engine Ben 10. Now, you might go in a minute, V. Those Drytron players. What, 3 of them? I'm biased. Okay, hold on. I'm biased. I like Drytrons a lot. Okay? I'm not gonna bullshit you, okay? So maybe this doesn't belong here. My argument would still be Drytrons is such a rogue deck that any player that gets regional invite, because we're not talking nationals, are we? Regional invite with Drytrons deserves it. And I think what giving them 3 Ben 10s won't be huge. I don't think it'll be that small. It would just like, I don't know. Ben 10 at 3 I think would make more sense. All right, Nadia Servant. Nobody's playing this card. Put it to 3. Then again, would they put it to 3? They just recently put it to 2. Would they go back on that word and put it to 3? The no longer limit it is really hard to do because what I did was I grabbed at least 3. As you see, I actually grabbed 4. 4 semi-limiteds and 3 limiteds. That's what Konami did in the last. Konami went 3 and 3 on semi-limited and limited on their last ban list, and I think they're going to be doing something similar to that. So I put Nadir Servant on here. If it goes to 3, what's going to happen? Shows come back? We have shows already. They're called tier limits, so why would we need this? Trickster Late Stage goes to 3. The only deck that really using Trickster's Late Stage right now would be sprites, and they're gonna need all the help they can get when tier limits get Ishizus. Which once tier limits get Ishizus, I don't give a fuck if you have Trickster Late Stage or not, you're gonna get bodied, in my opinion. Dynamite Knight, let's give those Draco players some more happiness. They're still, as you can tell, they're big bosses in here, so it doesn't matter. Time Shield does nothing. Put it to 3. It'll continue doing nothing. Inferni Launcher, I don't think this will do anything, but if there's like 3 or 4 Inferni players somewhere in this planet, they're gonna be really happy. You're gonna hear like a yay. That's it. That's all you're gonna hear, and you go, okay. 1-4 locals. Luna Light Tiger going to 3 does nothing, but I like Luna Light. They're like Sailor Moon. I used to watch them when I was younger. I know. V, what the fuck, man? No, it's like, you gotta watch your own anime. It's a good story. It's a good story. Luna Light Tigers won't do nothing. Alright, let's talk about cards that we could talk, like, just contenders. Number 1, Crystal Needle Fiber. V, Crystal Needle Fiber should be hit. I think that is a horrible take, and here's why. You hit Crystal Needle Fiber, and the reason why you hit Crystal Needle Fiber is because it's a way to get into Artifact Side. If you hit Artifact Side, you don't need to hit Crystal Needle Fiber anymore. Problem solution, Crystal Needle Fiber is still a good card, and still used for links to ensure that links actually play, but it doesn't really be abused. Crystal Needle Fiber into Celine, into Action Code's a great play, but who the fuck is doing that nowadays and surviving? Like, I don't think that's that big of a deal, number 1. Number 2, Winda. I don't think Winda's a problem if Super Poly's hit. In fact, not only do I don't think Winda's a problem, if Winda's an issue for you, it's not the metagame, it's your deck that's the problem. I don't think Winda's that big of a deal for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players. I'm just throwing it out there in case there's somebody arguing out there that Winda needs to be hit. When in reality, we have so many other cards that get around Winda, it's kind of boring to look at this point. Up next, Max C. This card goes to 3. In fact, you know what? Get fucked, everybody. That card goes to 3. Now reevaluate the game state. But V, Maxi, I got PTSD. I need my mommy. Gives a fuck. Maxi goes to 3. And anyone babbles about that is because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah, I've been saying it for years. And I get it. And yeah, I'm biased. I own a place at Ulti Maxis. You goddamn right. 1 in English, 1 in Spanish, 1 in Italian, because I'm Puerto Rican Italian. So fuck yeah. But Maxi goes to 3. And that's the end of it. That's it. Put Maxi to 3, and a lot of these kids playing a lot of these decks, shut the fuck up. All these dumbasses playing all these like super aggressive decks. Yeah, you just play Maxi against them, and then a lot of them got to reevaluate their decks. The mid-range players have to reevaluate how they play the game in their phase. Think about it. You play against your opponent, first turn they go summon level 2 guy, or you Maxi him, or they play that stupid sprite card, you Maxi him. What are they going to do? You want to continue your turn on the Maxi? You have to every player would have to reevaluate their entire deck, besides Ellic players, and that's why I got you right there. But every other player is going to have to reevaluate the way they play the game. Every single one. Tier 1 players, you're not going to be able to pop off if you're on the Max C. This is not going to happen. You're going to have to formulate your deck in order to play against that. And I think that's really cool. I think it adds, by Max C existing, it adds an element of, what are you going to do now, motherfucker? Like, I think that's what makes Maxi so important. I do have Danger Nessie on here because I know Timmons played Dangers, but I think Danger Nessie shouldn't even be talked about if Maxi goes to 3. If not, then we got to hit Danger cards again. Look at that. See how that works? We have to start hitting Danger cards if Maxi doesn't exist anymore because Danger would be an issue. Especially, I would argue, with tier limit Ishizu. It'd be broken. But it wouldn't be as broken if Maxi existed. Those Ishizu players wouldn't be able to pop up so hard if we had Maxi. And I know what you're saying. Well, V, we have Ashbox from Joy Spring. We have Cross the Designator. We have Call by the Grave. Those Ishizu players will still pop off. And if they're playing Ishizus, they might play Herald of Orange Light. So Maxi might not pop off. That's my point. The best decks are going to maintain the best because they're the newest. Obviously, road decks can still fly in and still be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but they're not going to be the most dominant deck in the game. That's my point. This is what Konami wants to do. Remember that. You remember, we're just bring it back. Konami wants all of us to buy their newest cards. Now, if you play an older deck and win, great. Konami's never going to attack you for that. They're never going to go, hold on one second, this guy's playing Heroes? Ban Stratos. Fuck that kid. Like, they're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. They pretty much forsaken you until your deck starts being a dominant deck, and then they have to look at you and go, we got to reevaluate this guy. We got to sort this kid out on the spot. Like, you're not dominating every single locals, well, regionals, not locals, like regionals, or YCS, and going to get unpunished. We got to talk about your deck. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at Max C, I see Konami, it's Konami's way to fix the craziness in this game. It is probably the best way to sort out the way the deck is. Look at every fucking deck right now. Go to every YCS. Besides those dumbasses playing Max C because they want to put the game to a super halt. I mean, not Max C, I'm sorry. Mystic Mind. Because they want to put the game to a halt because they're too scared to actually play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what Mystic Mind does. It says, Daddy, my pussy hurts. I don't want to play in fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! But I need to draw a lot of cards to break your board to kill you. That's what Mystic Mind is. Maxi is the opposite of that. It is literally the complete opposite. It's, hey, you want to fucking take a 20-minute turn? Boom! Take your fucking 20-minute turn now, bitch. Let's see what's up. Can you deck me out? If you can't, I'm lighting you up. That is what Maxi does. And a lot of people get scared. V the Maxi challenge. I'm so scared. Really, you weren't scared when you weren't scared when fucking Mystic Mind Artifact Slide barrier statue. In fact, I would argue those cards are infinitely more broken than Max C because they prevent you from doing things, whereas Max C hits the board and says, hey, listen, it's on you now. And I think that's a challenge a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players are too scared to do right now. Newer players that never played Max C are scared because they think Max C is so broken. Players that played Max C have Max C PTSD. Players that know how to play around Max C are going to benefit the most. And this is what I'm telling you. This is what's so important. If you learn to play around Max C, if you learn to understand that in a game state where this card exists, you're going to have to build your deck differently, you're going to have to play differently, and you have to look for cards differently, I think Max C is a great card for this meta. And anyone that's scared of Max C is because Yu-Gi-Oh players hate change. They hate change. They hate things that are different and new. A Banlist is what if Yu-Gi-Oh players had it their way, Konami released no more sets, the game would go on for this for about 4 years, and then made me a new set and or Banlist. That's exactly what would happen. Yu-Gi-Oh players fucking hate change. And when Max C, it's not really much of a change, it's much of taking you back to your old ways in which you used to play this card and learn how to play around it. Skillfully. Mind you, back when Maxi was even seeing play, we didn't have Call by the Grave, we didn't have Ash Blossom Joy of Spring, and the players got along just fucking fine. So stop being a little pussy and play Maxi like a man. Anyway, this is my ban list. Maxi goes to 3. Ultimately, whether it does or doesn't, I think even without Maxi, I still think this is a pretty damn good ban list. Comment down below. And if you're gonna start bitching because you're playing Tournament Sprites or whatever meta deck, but you don't want to say the deck, so you're gonna start bitching about my ban list rather than acknowledge the fact that you own a deck, especially Mystic Mind Burn or Thunderous or whatever, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You're an idiot. Konami doesn't care about your deck that you're playing. Konami cares about the entire game to sell us new cards. Now here's the question. It's a really important question. Obviously, Max C is something I'm really adamant about because I think this will fix a lot of problems within the game, but this card needs to be reprinted. So, in order for this card to even come off the ban list, I would argue to those that do want Max C off the ban list, this has to be reprinted. Because there's no fucking way this card's coming off the ban list at all unless it gets a reprint. And the second it gets a reprint, you all been warned. Other than that, though, I think this is a good ban list. As much as I argue and scream and yells because I adamantly care about this game, and I would love to know what you guys really do think. If the card should be added, taken off, if the card should go from limited to semi-limited, I want to know what you guys think. It's really important to me because I feel like we all have to come to an agreement as far as a player base to understand why cards need to come off the ban list or why cards need to go on the ban list. And let's be honest with you, at the end of the day, that we have to say, hey, listen, there's certain cards Konami wants to push over other cards. That just is what it is. That's how the game works, number one. Number two, we have to maintain the most cleanest game, and by having cards like Mystic Mind, that doesn't enable the game to be as clean as possible. So I do think that has to happen. As much as we joke around and bust balls in this video, which is always fun to do, I want to seriously have a conversation about why cards should be on here and off here. And I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys if you can comment down below. As much as we'll argue, scream, and yell all day long, it's because we all care about this game. Anyway, Paisans, I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. It's your boy V, and you guys all have a great day.